next, which is the part we're going to probably spend a little more time on, is the story. The idea is that I have to be able to get up here and say, I'm Kia Jarman with XYZ organization, and Sarah Jane is a person that many of you all would, she'd walk in the room and you would never notice anything wrong with her. She's got multiple degrees, but when she goes home at night, she's being beaten to an inch of her life. Every single night in front of her kids. So when she comes to me, I help connect her with resources. I listen to her when she needs a voice. I'm the person that she calls on when she's ready to leave. I'll be there. That's your story. So when you leave today, I want you to have written out all the pieces so that when you go to the office, you can take this exact model and run it every single time you have a story, which should be a couple of times a month. When people see you out, at least once a month, but a couple times a month, because when they see you out, you should be able to tell them something that they didn't ever know before about your organization. Because they know all the basic stuff. So I can go to your website to find the basic stuff. I'm going to give you all this a second to kind of digest some of that, but I would like somebody to tell me their story. I have a microphone. Who had their hand up? Okay.
Hi, I'm Arlene. I'm a social worker at the VA hospital in the homeless program. And yesterday I found John Doe a house, and he had been homeless for 20 years.
Okay, what was her, we got it real quick. That was 15 seconds, I feel. But that was good. What was her keyword? Do we have a keyword? Anybody want to guess? Okay, social services, probably more than social work, because the keyword will live regardless of the type of business. And then the tone, what was the tone of that? Successful. Okay, or inspiring, empowering, encouraging, any of those uplifting words. And that's exciting. And you can live in that moment for a little longer. You breathe through that thing, you can live in that. Because when you're in a boardroom with someone, you can say, do you all remember John Doe? I talked to you about him 10 years ago, and we just couldn't get him right. And all of a sudden, yesterday he came in and we got him right. And this is what we did to get him there, okay? So you can live in that success a little bit longer based on the audience and based on where we're going to distribute the information. Put it on Twitter, you got it. You got the Twitter headline all day. I love that. But just remember, with a blog, you could go with it a little longer. And no, you're fine. You didn't know you did perfect. But I think because you did it that way, that's the beauty of it, is that you already got it succinct. So now you can play with it a lot because you've already got it in tightened. So that was great. As his table spokesperson has nominated him to speak on everyone's behalf.
I'm Granger Brown with Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network. And a few weeks ago, I gave a suicide prevention training to an anti-drug coalition up in Gallatin. And as a part of that, we give out these little tags that go on your keychain. And that was on a Friday. And on Tuesday morning when I got to work, there was an email there that a lady had actually used the number I gave to save the life of a relative who was in the act of committing suicide in Oregon. And they were able to get an email or call from the doctor and the police that she was okay. That made my week.
Thank you. Such an amazing story. Why wouldn't you want to share that? Because it's tough. That's a tough job to have, to literally talk people off of ledges or to talk people of people off of ledges. That's really hard to do, to say everything is okay and keep calm and have your demeanor. But a device that you all have adapted or adopted in the office worked for someone very far from here. So that's a success story, and what that helps to do is it helps your donors or your board of directors say, oh, we need to be finding donors from other places. It makes you can find some money in more places, you can have volunteers in more places, and it lets you know the reach of your story.
My name is Deborah Eubanks. I am a social worker. I work for a Metro Development and Housing Agency here in Nashville, Tennessee. But anyway, I helped her and encouraged her to believe that there was the possibility that she could get her back on her feet. And even though she was not a client of mine, we talked, I assisted her, she was excited, I got her student loans out of default all in one day. And so now she's on her way to going to school. I even gave her a bus pass that I wasn't supposed to. But anyhow, that's a part of helping. When you are in a situation, when you have people come to you, and even though you know you can feel that they are sincere, you have to help them and then ask for forgiveness later. So that's my story.
Thank you. What I love about her story is her audience was you all. So her audience wasn't so much the board, which it could be, because you can keep a job helping people that you that aren't necessarily on your role. That's how you keep your job. Remember I talked about that? But seriously, this is good for a room like this, to just give extra bit of encouragement, because what you all do really is difficult. People have no idea what you do and what you bring home with you every single day. So to be able to share this story is really helpful, sometimes also just for your inner self, but also because people need to hear it. Because, again, I work with the news media all the time, and people always say to me, why don't the news cover whatever? Because no one is telling them. So they're going to cover the suicide, and they're going to cover the suicide the way that they interpret it. No one called on that child's behalf and talked about the legacy of, if you will. And so you all have the ability to pick up the phone and just say, you know what, we had a great story the other day because I was able to do the following things. And some of the things that you all just said were really large enough for media coverage, especially on a day when everything is doom, everything is really gloomy. For those who didn't tell me their story today, next time I see you, I want to know your story.